bicarbonates. Okay. So now let's go through all of you. I hope all of you are carrying your textbooks with you all. Now all of you have come through my name. My name you can see on the screen, Pathan Arifa Khatun, and I am from Worli Seaface English Municipal Secondary School. Today we are going to learn Science 1 for Standard 9, and the chapter is again the same, that is acid, bases, and salts. So in this chapter, we will initially start with reaction of acids with oxides of metals. Reaction of acids with oxides of metals. Now here you can go through on page number 66 with this chapter, reaction of acids with the oxides of metal. Now we have till now learned about the acids. What are acids? The concentration of H plus ions are the solution which contains H plus ions, it is an acid. Now we are seeing the reaction of acid with oxides of metal. That means there will be a metal also and an oxide also. Metal oxide. Now when acid they react with metal oxide, they gives us salt and water. They give us salt and water. Neutralization reaction also we have seen, when acid and base react together, they gives us salt and water only. So remember through that, when metals they react with oxides, they gives when acid they react with metal oxide, they give us salt and water. First part you can see that when metal oxide, any metal, let us take as copper, let us take as zinc, let us take as iron. When it reacts with oxygen, when there is a composition of metal as well as oxygen, such time you will call that particular thing as metal oxide. Okay, so metal oxide, when metal react with acid, any acid, take your hydrochloric acid, your hydrobromic acid, it gives you salt and water. Actually, most metal oxides are not soluble. Most metal oxides, they are not soluble. That means they are not soluble in water. They don't dissolve in water because mostly metals are in solution. So that is they are bases, but not alkalis. They are bases, but not alkalis, because alkalis they dissolve completely in water. They are strong bases only. They dissolve in water, but the metal oxide they do not dissolve in water. This means, what does it mean? They need often slower. They are often slower and they may need heating. They need heating to make them react. So to take this example, they may melt and then they will react with acid, and then afterwards, after that reaction, it may give that salt and water. So copper oxide, copper, Cu for copper and oxide, O, CuO. This reaction in another form is given in the next slide, but we'll read this. Copper oxide, that is a metal oxide, and acid, that is the sulfuric acid. It gives you the salt, copper sulfate, and water. And see the peak, that is heating is shown here, and then the reaction takes place. Here you can see again metal oxide plus acid, they give you salt and water. First example is zinc. Zinc is a metal. Oxide, ZNO. When it combines with sulfuric acid, H2SO4, it gives you zinc sulfate and water, salt and water. Same for second one also, sodium oxide. It reacts with hydrochloric acid, but hydrochloric acid is taken here twice. So it gives you salt, that is your sodium chloride. And next one is the water again. For iron also, the Symbol for iron is Fe, Fe2O3, iron oxide. It is Fe2O3 and 3 molecules of nitric acid, HNO3. Again, it gives you the salt iron nitrate and water. Okay. So next is the reaction of bases with, in this way. The next topic, reaction of, again on page number 67, reaction of bases with oxides of non-metals. Three things you must know here. Bases, we'll take the example of bases like potassium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide. These are the bases. Oxide of non-metals, again oxygen will be there and a non-metal will be there. And a non-metal will be there. When oxide of non-metal, they combine with base, again they give us salt and water only. It gives us salt and water only. Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide. It is the oxide of non-metal. Carbon is a non-metal and oxygen for oxide. Carbon dioxide, when it reacts with the base sodium hydroxide, it gives you Na2CO3, that is sodium bicarbonate, and sodium carbonate and water. It gives you salt and water. When carbon dioxide it reacts with sodium hydroxide, it gives you sodium carbonate and the base. Sodium carbonate is again the base, and it gives you water again. So next topic, reaction of acids with carbonates and bicarbonates of metals. Reaction of acid with carbonates and bicarbonates of metal. For this, we'll go for one more pic here. Just give me some seconds. We will use this pic for this. Okay. Now, reaction of acid with carbonates and bicarbonates of metal. This particular reaction is given on page, its activity is given on page number 67. Since we were not having this experimental setup, for your understanding purpose, I have taken this. Now, what we have to do, fit a bent tube in a rubber cork. Cork you can see here. It is labeled there, cork. You may be knowing it. Cork ball you use for your, for boys they use for their cricket purpose, cork ball. So that is nothing but the same thing. Fit a bent tube. Bent tube means little bent one. Little bent one. Take some lime water in a test tube and keep it handy. In the hand you have to keep. Take some test tube. Take some lime water, that is calcium hydroxide, in one test tube and keep it handy in your hand. Take some baking soda in another test tube and add lemon juice to it. Another test tube, you have taken baking soda, your normal one, and lemon juice or normal lemon juice. To it, immediately fit the bent tube over it. Immediately, as soon as you add lemon juice and baking soda, fit the bent tube on this test tube, the larger one. Insert its another end into the lime water. Now the test tube which is in your hand, insert the other end of the bent tube, one end in the larger test tube and one end in the test tube which is in your hand. And it consists of lime water, that is calcium hydroxide. Note down your observation and of both the test tube. Definitely you will see something there. Definitely you are going to see something there. And you have to repeat this procedure with washing soda, vinegar and dilute HCl. Okay. Now when you perform this activity, the reaction that takes place, it is in such manner. Actually, what happened before that, we'll see that. In this activity, when the lime water come in contact with the gas released from baking soda and lemon water, gas will be released from there and it will enter from the bent tube up to that lime water solution. When lime water comes in contact with the gas which is coming from the larger test tube, it will turn milky. It will the color of that lime water will become milkish, and this is the chemical test for carbon dioxide. Actually, it is the carbon dioxide that has entered through the larger test tube into the one which you are handling. When lime water turns milky, we can infer that the effervescence is of carbon dioxide. Effervescence means the vapors are of water vapors, like the vapors are of the carbon dioxide. This gas is produced on reaction of acid with carbonates and bicarbonate salts of metal. So this was the reaction which has taken place when acid reacts with carbonates and bicarbonates of metals. A precipitate, CaCO3, calcium carbonate, which is formed. It is a precipitate. Precipitate means it will appear milky to you, white color, and there will be some lumps there, like the solid form of this salt, no? So likewise lumps will be there, and such a solution is called as precipitate. That means some lumps or solid substances are formed from the liquid. A precipitate of calcium carbonate plus water is formed on this reaction, and this reaction can be represented with this slide. Okay. Now the summary of the acid reactions. Just now we have come through them. Initially, we have seen acid plus alkali, they forms the salt and water. And recently, we have studied about reaction of acid with metal oxide. They gives you salt and water. Earlier, you have seen that magnesium chloride or zinc chloride plus water. And HCl and metal oxide, it combines in HCl, magnesium oxide and HCl. When they react with each other, they gives you magnesium chloride plus water, that is salt and water. Then acid plus metal carbonate with the experimental setup, salt plus water plus carbon dioxide. And another one, when acid they react with only metal, they give you salt and hydrogen. This also we have seen in the earlier lectures. Now there is one more topic in this chapter, that are the salts. And we'll discuss this in short only. Actually, there are three types of salts. They are the acidic salt, the basic salt, and the neutral salt. Acidic salt means what? The salt which are formed by the reaction between strong acid and weak base. Remember, acidic salt means the reaction between a strong acid, weak base, acidic salt. Basic salt, reaction between a strong base and weak acid. Strong base and weak acid, that is a basic salt. And in neutral salt is formed by a strong acid and a strong base. And a strong acid and a strong base. Acidic salt, strong acid, weak base. Basic salt, strong base, weak acid. Neutral salt, strong acid, strong base. I hope you may have understood this. Now the next is the water of crystallization. Actually, this part is supposed to be taken in the laboratory only, but we are helpless nowadays. So we are here for you to explain in such a way only. Now, what is water of crystallization? You know about water. Crystals also you know. Crystals like they are solid particles only, somewhat solid particles only, not very big to be appear, but you can feel them. This experiment is again taken from your textbook page number 69. That is water of crystallization. Water of crystallization. In the experimental setup, you can see there are two test tube with the holder. They are for holding purpose. Holder is used in the science laboratory. What is to be done here now? Water of crystallization means it is an activity which I will explain you point wise. Take some crystals of blue vitriol in two test tubes. Take some crystals, particles, which you can feel with your hand in both the test tube. It is also called as copper sulfate. Blue vitriol is also called as copper sulfate. and its color is blue, which you can see in the first pic. Add some water in one test tube and shake it. In the first one, add some water in one test tube and shake it. What do you see? Definitely a reaction will go up. What is the color of the solution? Form. What is the color of the solution? Form in the first test tube. We'll discuss later. Then heat the other test tube. You have taken blue vitriol or copper sulfate in both the test tube. In the first one, you have added water, but in the second one, it is kept as it is. Now you are adding. Now you are giving heat to it. Heat the other test tube on low flame, not very on a high flame, on a very low flame of a burner. What do you see? What change did color occur in the color of blue vitriol? There is a change. There is a change. When you give it, it will become white. It will become white. What did you see in the upper part of the test tube? And on the upper part of the test tube, if you will observe carefully in the second test tube, if you observe carefully in the second test tube, you might see small dots over there of blue color. Small dots of blue color. What is actually happening here? When the second test tube cools down, some water in it, add some water and shake it. When the second test tube cools down, add some water in it and shake little. What is the color of the resulting solution? What inference can be drawn from this observation? What we can conclude? On heating, actually on heating, when we have given heat to it, the crystalline structure, the solid structure of the copper sulfate, broke down. They broke down to form a colorless powder. And water comes out. When you give heat, water comes out from that powder. Initially it was blue. You are given heat, it became white, and from that water, from that white color powder, water vapors are coming over there. This water was part of the crystal structure of blue vitriol. Where this water was stored? It was stored in the blue crystals of copper sulfate or blue vitriol. This water is part of the crystal of blue vitriol, and it is called the water of crystallization. From where it has come? It has come from the crystals of copper sulfate. This water is come from the crystals of copper sulfate, and therefore it is called as water of crystallization. On adding water, when we have added water in the second test tube, a solution was formed. The solution was formed, which had the same color as the solution in the first one. First one also you have added, it became white. The solution became colorless. Second one, you have not initially added the water to it. First you have heated it, and then you have added water to it. It got the same color of the first test tube. From this we come to know that no chemical change has occurred in the crystal of blue vitriol. There is no chemical change. It was earlier, it has become again. Due to heating, losing water on heating blue vitriol. Breaking down of the crystal structure. The crystal structure were broken down, and a white powder is formed. Then on adding water and a little cooling it up, a blue color crystals are again formed on the test tube. So losing blue color and regaining blue color, it has again regained the blue color. On adding water, these are all physical change. And we have studied that physical change is reversible. And the chemical reaction representation is likewise. Copper sulfate plus 5 molecules of water, and on heating it gives you the same copper sulfate and 5 molecules of water as it is. Next is the ionic compounds and electrical conductivity. This is on page number 770. Ionic compounds and electrical conductivity. Now first look carefully at the experimental setup. There is a battery and positive negative terminals over there, and bare electric wires, and the blue color solution is the solution of sodium chloride, and there is also a support for the wire and battery, switch and all, and bulb. Prepare the solution. How this is prepared then? Prepare a solution of 1 gram sodium chloride in 50 ml water. You have to take the water with the help of the beaker, with the measuring beaker, 50 ml, just 1 gram of sodium chloride. Take 2 electrical wires, conducting wires, electrical wires. Connect one wire to the positive terminal of the battery, and of a 6-volt battery you have to take. While connecting the other wire to the negative terminal of the battery, other one to the positive terminal and another to the negative terminal. Include one switch and one holder also. One switch for putting off and on, and holder also with an electric bulb. Connect in such a way that you should connect the holder, the switch and the bulb in proper connection, in proper method. Remove the insulated cladding. Now the wires are insulated, it has a plastic covering over there. So remove the insulated cladding from 3 centimeter portion of the free ends. One end you have attached to the battery and one end it is in the solution. So up 3 centimeter, you know, you most of the time you use your scales and all those, so you know how much is 3 centimeter. So remove the insulation from the wire up to the mark of 3 centimeter, which is very, very small. So in this you can see the upper wire is in blue color, but the one which is dipped into the solution, it is non-insulated. It is non-insulated. So 3 centimeter you have to remove it of the free end of the 2 wires. Take the salt solution in a 100 ml beaker capacity. 100, we have taken 50 ml and 100 ml beaker capacity, and immerse the uncovered end of the 2 wires in it, keeping the wire erect, straight, keeping them straight with the help of a support. Upside you have to keep any support over there, like a wooden block over there, so the wire might stand erect there. Switch on the current. Now you have the switch with you, the key with you, switch on the current. And note whether the bulb glow or not. Note whether the bulb glow or not. And repeat the same procedure. Repeat the same procedure with different types of solution like copper sulfate, 1 gram of glucose, 1 gram of urea, 5 ml of dilute H2SO4, 5 ml of sodium hydroxide, but each and every one in 50 ml of water. 50 ml of water. Now, with which solution did the bulb glow? The bulb will glow here. The bulb will glow because we have taken sodium chloride, the salt of sodium chloride, the salt that means sodium chloride. The bulb will glow only when electricity will pass. Definitely. When the bulb will glow, when the electricity will pass, then only the bulb will glow. And this will happen only when the electric circuit is complete. The arrangement of electric circuit is complete. In the above activity, the circuit is found to be complete when the aqueous solution of NaCl, copper sulfate, H2SO4, sulfuric acid, and NaOH are used. It means that these solutions are conductor of electricity. Sodium chloride is a conductor of electricity, and the bulb will only glow or the electricity will only pass when the taken solution is a conductor of electricity. That means electrons should pass through that solution and through that wire. It should conduct through the wire. Then only then the electricity will be produced and the bulb will glow. Electron conducts electricity through electric wire. Yes, and ions conduct electricity through a liquid or a solution. Electrons, they move through the wire, and ions, they move through the solution. Electrons leave the battery at the negative terminal, that is on the right side. They start moving from always the negative terminal only, and they move to the positive terminal and enter the battery at the positive terminal. When there is a liquid or a solution in the circuit, two rods or two wires, we have used wires here, sometimes rods are also used or plates are also used, and these are called as electrodes. These are called as electrodes. We can call this wire, bare wire also electrodes. We will call the Plates also electrodes, or rods of metals will also be called as electrodes. The electrode connected to negative terminal of the battery by means of a wire is called cathode. The electrode which is connected to the battery by means of a wire, but to which terminal, negative terminal, it is called as cathode, and the wire which is connected to the battery at positive terminal, it is called as the anode. It is called as the anode. Positive terminal anode and negative terminal cathode. Now let us move how the phenomenon takes place when ion moves. Now, dissociation of ions and electrical conductivity, which is given on page number 71. In this earlier one, we have seen about the conduction of electricity. And now we are going to see again the electrical conductivity only, but how the ions they dissolve, the H plus ions and the OH minus ion, how they get separated in the solution, and where they attract, whether they attract towards the cathode or whether they attract towards the anode. Again, I will say you cathode is the negative terminal and anode is the positive terminal. So the next topic for us is the dissociation of ions and electrical conductivity. Again, one experimental setup is given here from your textbook itself. It is page number 71. See here. This only we have to see what is actually happening here. In the above activity, in the earlier activity, it was found that the aqueous solution of the compounds. We have taken NaCl only, so we'll talk about NaCl only. We have taken NaCl, so we'll talk about NaCl only. So the aqueous solution of the compound NaCl or any other, they are electricity conductor. The NaCl solution, aqueous solution, is the electricity conductor. And if we have taken water, there was no electricity to be conducted. That was supposed to be conducted. Out of this, NaCl and CuSO4 are salts. The salt they conduct electricity, like the NaCl, sodium chloride, and copper sulfate. And the sulfuric acid, which is a strong acid, and sodium hydroxide, which is a strong base. We have seen the salts, the strong acid, and strong bases dissociate almost completely. They dissolve completely. No, the strong acid, they dissociate completely. The strong bases, they dissociate completely in their aqueous solution. Therefore, the aqueous solution of all these three, the base, the strong, the salt, that is the NaCl, the strong acid, that is H2SO4, or the NaOH, they dissolve completely, and they contain large number of cations and anions. Cations positively charged and anions negatively charged. In this experimental setup, we'll see here, okay, the characteristics of a liquid is what? Here it is a liquid. The mobility of the particles. Mobility means movement. They move here and there. We cannot see them, but they get attracted toward the electrodes. They get attracted toward the electrodes. Due to this mobility, the positively charged cations in the solution are attracted towards the negative electrode or cathode. You can see here clearly. The positive one, it has the attraction of the negative electrode. It is getting the cations are attracted towards the negative electrodes, and anions are attracted towards the positive electrode. Due to the movement characteristics of the liquid, the positively charged cation are attracted towards negative terminal or the electrode or cathode, negative electrode or cathode. And the other hand, the negatively charged anions, they move towards the direction of the anode. The movement of ions in this solution towards the respective electrodes amounts to the conduction of electricity. When the positive, they will attract to the when the positive cations, they will get attracted towards the negative electrode and anions to the positive electrode. If the attraction is more, the conduction of electricity will be more. If the attraction is more, the conduction of electricity will be more. From this, you might have understood that those solutions or liquids which contains a large number of dissociated ions. These are dissociated ions. They are totally separated, positive ones and the negative ones. And if the quantity of these ions, of these separated ions is more, electricity conduction will be also more. Now the last one is the electrolysis. Electrolysis. Again, this is an experimental setup from the textbook only, electrolysis. See carefully the experimental setup first. Key switch, everything is given there, electrons are moving over there. And but here the solution of copper sulfate, that is a salt, is taken here. Let us see how much quantity is taken. Take a solution of 1 gram copper sulfate in 50 ml. 50 ml, and the beaker capacity will be 100 ml. Use a thick plate of copper. The left one is copper plate as anode, positive one, and carbon as cathode. Arrange the apparatus as shown and pass an electric current through the circuit. You have to arrange the circuit first, key, switch, and the wire. You have to arrange, and proper arrangement through the circuit for some time and observe for any change. Definitely there will be a change. In the experiment only we can see in the blue color solution that the copper is getting deposited on carbon. Copper is getting deposited on carbon. You can see clearly there, Cu+, even likewise you can see there. In the above activity, copper appears to be have deposited on the cathode. Copper appear to be depositing, gathering there, or collecting over there at carbon rod, at the carbon rod. In the so we can see copper appears to be deposited on the portion of cathode immersed in the solution. But how it is happening? It is happening due to the electric current. The ions are moving there. The cations and the anions, again they are moving there. When an electric current flows through the circuit, the cations, that is the Cu plus cations in the solution got attracted towards the cathode, towards the negative terminal. Copper atoms are formed, and copper atoms are formed when electrons coming out from cathode combine with Cu plus ions. Now cathode, it is carbon. Ions are coming, oppositely charged ions are coming. Oppositely charged anions are coming from carbon side, and they are getting clubbed with the carbon cation. Then when the cation and anion they club together, ions is formed, and the ion so formed is the Cu plus ion. A deposit of copper appear on the cathode. A deposit of copper appear on the cathode side, that means on the carbon rod. Even though the copper ions in the solution were used up in this manner, the color of the solution remains the same. The color does not change because while electricity was on, electrons were removed from the copper atom of the anode and sent to the battery through the electric wire. The color of the solution, it does not change because electrons were removed from copper side and sent to the battery, sent towards the battery through the wire. The copper ion forms in this manner enter the solution, and in this way it becomes possible for the copper ions to get entered towards the negative terminal or the carbon rod, and such a process is called as electrolysis. What happens in an electrolysis? In this way, here decomposition of the solute in the solution took place due to the electric current. the decomposition takes place here. The copper when get deposited on the carbon rod, electrolysis takes place, and it is due to the solute of the solution. There are two parts in the electrolysis process. These are the cathode reaction and the anode reaction. That there are two parts in this electrolysis process. They are the main, that is the cathode reaction and the anode reaction. When cathode reaction takes place, solid copper is formed, and at anode side, the copper, the solid copper, it becomes dissociated from there, and cation of copper is formed. Now, if we were supposed to use a pure water in an electrolytic cell, just now we have seen about the electrolysis. Now, if we were supposed to use pure water in an electrolytic cell, current does not flow even on putting the switch. From this, what we can learn, that pure water is a bad conductor of electricity. Pure water is bad conductor of electricity, and we have already seen the reason behind this. The reason behind this, the concentration of H plus and OS minus ions formed by dissociation is very low. The dissociation of the ions is very low, that is 1 into 10 to the power of minus 7. However, the electrical conductivity increases whenever we use a salt or a strong acid or a strong base. Why? Because the dissociation of a the dissociation of a strong acid or a dissociation of strong base is very high. The ions, they dissociate at a higher rate in a strong acid, in a strong base. Therefore, for electrolysis purpose, the strong base is used, strong acid is used, or only salt is used, which we have seen with the sodium chloride solution also. And in this way, the electrolysis take place. So that means electrolysis does not take place in pure water because it does not conduct electricity. The last one is again the same, but here test tubes are used in this experimental setup, and a battery, like earlier only it is attached, but here test tube are used. This is electrolysis of water. This is electrolysis of water. Earlier it was the electrolysis of salt or strong acid or strong base. The last one is the electrolysis of water. Here we have taken dissolved 2 grams of salt in 500 pure water. The quantity of water is more. Earlier it was only 50 ml. Now it is 500 ml, and salt is just 2 grams. Take 250 ml of this solution in a 500 ml capacity beaker. Out of that 500 ml solution, take half of it. Take half of it in a 500 ml capacity beaker. Connect two electrical wires to the positive and negative terminal of a power supply. Remove the insulated cladding from about 2 cm. Remove the insulated cladding of the wire from 2 cm again. Earlier you have done with 3 cm. Here you have to remove the insulation. Insulation just 2 cm. From which portion? From the portion which you are dipping or inserting into the beaker. These are 2 electrodes now. The one which are dipped into solution, they are electrodes. Fill 2 test tubes up to the brim with the prepared dilute salt solution. Take 2 test tubes, fill them to the brim. Fill them completely with the remaining solution, with the prepared dilute solution, and invert them, ulta, on the electrode without allowing any air to enter. Take care that no water should enter. Immediately you have to invert them on the positive and the negative end of the wire. Start the electric current under the potential difference of 6 volts from the power supply, and observe what happened in the test tube after some time. Definitely reaction will take place here. reaction or the current supply will be there. The question arises here is, can we see gas bubbles forming near the electrodes? Yes, we can see. You can see the bubbles over there. Are these gases heavier or lighter than air? This is the question for you. Are these gases? Why there is bubbles? Because there is gases. So are these gas heavier or lighter than air? And are the volume of the gases collected over the solution in the two test tube same or different? It would be different only. It is found in the above activity that the volume of the gas formed near cathode. In the experimental setup only you can see whether the volume of the gases collected on the both terminal is the same. From the experimental setup you can see clearly the volume of the gases formed near the cathode is double than the gas formed near the anode. Scientists have shown that hydrogen gas is formed near the cathode and oxygen near the cathode. Again, it is shown that hydrogen gas is formed near the cathode and there is a negative terminal and oxygen towards the anode. From this it is clear electrolysis of water has taken place and the constituent elements have been released. The concerned electrode reaction can be said like if when electrons move into the water, it gives hydrogen gas and hydroxide solution, the aqueous solution. Aqueous solution is already there, and at the anode side, when there is a electrolysis of water take place near the anode side, it gives you oxygen and hydrogen as well. So in this way, we have done through this, and next part is the evaluation part, which we might come through now then. Now here, you have to write the chemical reactions for chemical equations for the following activities. That means you have to write in the symbolic manner. When sodium hydroxide is added to HCl, when sodium hydroxide is added to HCl, and when zinc dust is added to H2SO4, Zn plus H2,4, it will give you what? NaOH plus HCl, it gives you what? Likewise. Then in the earlier session, we have come through about the pH of various substances like lemon juice, blood, solution of baking soda, many more, which you have in your textbook itself. Since the chapter is now finished, so there are questions in your textbook also, but for our evaluation purpose, I've taken this. So you have to write down the pH of lemon juice, blood, solution of baking soda, acid rain, tomato juice, lime water, and pure water. And please go through all these question answers and hope you might have understood this chapter. And again, we'll meet with the next chapter and hope you may have understood this. Thank you. We'll meet again with the next chapter.